Movies with my best friend.
Welcome to Movies with My Best Friend Phil, a movie podcast that, like a good neighbor, is there. I'm your host, Phil Kessel,
The most
joined
accurate.
as always by two of my best friends, one of whom is named Will Chodas.
Hey,
Will?
Phil, how you doing,
Good
buddy?
evening. Yes.
What?
I am. Huh? Who?
I said, how you doing? I think.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
What is this? What's the bit? Help me
I'm
out.
also joined by one of my other best friends, Craig Norland.
Hey! Woo!
Hey. Is it offensive that I sounded more excited when I introduced you?
No, I don't think it was
I'm hoping to
offensive at
seed
all.
resentment between you two.
Okay.
Start playing this like, who's really Phil's best friend?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something we want? Is that a direction we want to go?
I don't think so. Plus,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Continue.
Okay,
we'll see
well-
how it goes. It'll be a saga.
we'll keep introducing because today we have another guest.
We do?
Yes.
Where?
This is becoming my favorite thing, is when there are guests, because then I don't have to deal with you two. And our
Fair.
guest today is none other than Craig's sister, Anne. What's going
Hey
on?
guys,
Hey, Ann.
long time listener, first time caller here.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, welcome to the podcast. There's three of us. Hi.
Who's your least favorite character? Who's the villain?
Yeah, who would you say is the villain, the heel of the group? I don't want to hear this, actually.
You won't
Yeah.
offend either of
Craig,
me
do
or
I
Will.
really have to answer this?
Yeah.
I saw
I
the
don't
will.
know.
I saw the will.
It is Will.
I know it's
Sorry,
me.
Will. It's because I've known Phil a really long time,
Yeah,
and I've
I
known Craig even longer. So
Yeah. Well, we've never met officially. This is the first time we've had a conversation, so I get it. So I'll just, hate you forever. It's fine.
it's okay. I feel like you hate a lot of people, so
All right. So my character is coming across accurately.
Perfectly.
All right. So I usually ask this of our guests, but so what is your relationship with movies? Would you consider yourself a movie person? This is apparently a movie podcast. Though,
I wouldn't say that.
yeah.
it's not a music podcast.
No. Phil
It
does
should
quite a
be.
bit of singing, but that's usually at the beginning and at the end.
Man, okay. Well, I have to go then
Oh.
because I thought this was all about music. No, I love movies. Our dad has given us a lot of variety of movies to watch, especially me. Craig keeps on forgetting about movies, and so I'll be like, "Hey, Dad would show me Oliver," and he'd be like, "What's Oliver?" And which
That is
isn't
not
true.
a-
He knows what
that
Oliver
is. Not
is.
the case.
Sorry.
Craig doesn't know what Oliver is. I'm gonna use that one.
Yeah.
But so I tend to like the old classics with like Cary Grant and Jamie Stewart, and then any musical, and then go into the 80s, and I'm a huge John Hughes fan, and
Great.
the obscure 80s films.
Nice. Very cool. So are you somebody who watches like a movie a week, you'd say?
Not anymore because I have a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I used every single, when I was younger, like every Friday was movie night with our friends.
Craig,
Yeah.
what's your experience with movies?
As always, I just try to copy my sister as much as possible.
See, that's what I've heard from you multiple times.
He's gotten better with his movie selection. Before it was like, here's Kung Pao. And I know you guys probably love that movie.
They don't know it.
Oh,
I
well,
have seen
you
it.
will
No,
have to
I know
watch
Kung
that
Pao.
movie.
I know that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But like
And
Monty
so-
Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay.
I like that.
Ah.
So it was getting him introduced to those older films like How Green Is My Valley and stuff like that he needed to get into.
Whoa.
And he finally did. So now his movie selection is way better than mine.
So what's funny, you are saying about Craig what we said. Wait, what I would say about Craig? What am I saying? Craig is the old movie guy in our group, and just is always introducing us to things that we should have watched and didn't or don't care to. I think that maybe be.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That might be.
More of that.
With some of them, yes.
Yeah.
I have liked a lot of the old movies that Craig has introduced us to.
Yeah,
I have really disliked at least one of them.
That's true. We have all had our ups and downs. Yeah, definitely. I'm the one who's always like, hey, let's watch a musical. And these two guys are like, oh, great.
You gotta start watching more musicals.
I almost had us watch a musical at one point.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not the same as watching one, is it?
No, it's not.
No, okay.
But for me, it's close.
Yeah.
If you're gonna start with a musical, start with Hairspray.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that might not be the right answer.
It is not the right answer. It's one of the worst ones to pick from.
Yeah.
You will hate musicals from there on out.
Hairspray. Is that when? Well, the more recent one is with John Travolta dresses as a lady. He's yeah.
Well,
and that's with Zac Efron, right? Is it Hairspray, or am I thinking of something else?
No, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
right.
Yeah.
So it was a musical first, and then it became a movie. Or no, it was a movie first, then a musical, and then a movie again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
a lot of musicals do that.
I prefer the Ricky Lake version of it, the original movie. Which is terrible too.
Yeah, it's like Rocky Horror. No, not Rocky Horror. Little Shop of Horrors was a movie, a B movie that I think it was like whose first movie was it? Was it
Jack Nicholson's?
Yes, it was Jack Nicholson's like first movie, and so like if you go and buy the movie now. What? He's like on the cover of it, but he literally has 2 lines as he like walks into a dentist's office and then leaves. He's not even in it.
I have watched that movie.
Yeah.
I have seen that in the last 6 months, and yeah, he's not in it for very long, but he does make an impression, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, because his face is insane
he steals
looking.
the scene.
Like I think we've all gotten used to how Jack Nicholson looks, but like if you saw that man, like if he was like if you went to like a car wash and he was the guy behind the counter, you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna die here, right? Like I'm dying here.
This is my dad. Yeah, he's got a way about him.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's the eyebrows mostly.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Are eyebrows? Okay, this is kind of a weird question.
Okay.
I guess I'll field it to Will first.
Yeah.
But Craig, if you have an answer, please
I'm ready
shout
for
it out.
I'm ready for it.
Here we go.
Are eyebrows the wallet of the face?
I do keep a lot of things in my eyebrows, especially credit cards. So yeah, I would say it is because
what? Okay. Well, that being the case,
Uh-huh.
factual case that we've discovered here today.
Yeah.
What would be in that wallet for you, Will? Your eyebrow wallet.
Very nice, Phil. That's right. It's time for the segment where we reach deep into our best friend's pants and whip out some recommendations. It's What's in Your Wallet.
You didn't like that
loves
one, did you, Anne?
Everyone loves it.
Everyone loves it.
All right.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
All right. So you were asking me what's in my wallet.
Yes.
So I'm going to do a video game because I recently went to San Francisco. So the only couple movies I've watched have been Ant-Man, Ant-Man 2, and Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings. Because they take place in San Francisco. So Ben and I just watched them and went, we were there today. Anyways.
I watched Shang-Chi at your house, but you weren't there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's weird.
Where was I? I was watching a different Marvel movie, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Anyways, so what's in my wallet is a video game called Neo, which came out on the PlayStation 4. So this is one of those games one of those times where I am I'm like I'm bringing out my libertarian point of view when it comes to specifically copyright, which is to say, I'm really glad that they haven't figured out, or they haven't copyrighted like not systems, but game mechanics, because this game is a Dark Souls clone. It's like literally like they took Dark Souls and that was their starting point, was literally a different video game. But they've done like so much stuff to it. Like, okay, so you take Dark Souls and then you add the loot from Borderlands and like all the prestige stuff from Borderlands, like how you get the badass ranks. And then you add in like all the weaponry from like Monster Hunter, and then the like high-low sword stuff from Ghost of Tsushima. And then you add like a weird historical fiction anime nonsense, and you got Neo. And it's super fun if you're the type of person who likes Dark Souls types games. Or actually,
yes.
I think if you liked Dark Souls, you'd probably hate this one because you'd be like, they made it too easy. It's not as like inscrutable. The story doesn't make any sense. At one point in the story, the thing is, the story is you are playing as an actual real life historical person named William Adams, who came to Japan and became a samurai. He's
Tom
from England.
Cruise.
What's that?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
See, you shook your head, Anne. You thought I was lying.
No, I'm just disappointed with that. So.
Yeah, so he goes, except for like this is like nonsense because like he shows up and he's like, he can like see spirit animals and like there's like demons everywhere. So it's like very much historical fiction. And at one point, like you meet this samurai friend and he like, they say something like, when are the enemies arriving? And the guy like opens up his gi, pulls out an entire cat, looks the cat in the eye, and then puts the cat back and goes, in about 15 minutes. And I'm just like...
What's weird about that?
I was like, did that guy just tell time with a cat? And then like later on, they're like, oh no, what happened to his cat clock? And I'm like, so he did tell time with a cat.
Hey, did you finish Ghost of Tsushima?
Yes, I did. Platinum did. Okay. Yeah.
See? All right.
Yeah, that game's great. And so, Neo is my recommendation for nobody. No, everyone I know who listens to this doesn't actually play video games, so they tune out when I start talking about them. So I'm not sure why I even still bring them up.
And probably the person here most likely to play Neo has already played Neo.
Yeah, because I am playing your copy.
Yeah. It's such a good game, though.
I just rolled credits on it. I just got to the very end.
Nice. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and there's a lot more after that. Like there's New Game Plus stuff. Anyways.
And then there's a whole, I think there's like 2 DLCs and then there's a second game.
Yeah, I bought the DLC and I haven't scratched the surface of it because I like showed up and some guy's like head popped off and turned into a big serpent and killed me in 2 hits. And I went, you know what? I'm going to try some other stuff. I'm going to head back out and see what else I got.
I like when you do well at that game.
Yeah.
Because it makes you feel
like the
game does not hold your hand.
Yeah,
so it makes you feel like an absolute badass.
Yeah, death is part of it. Yeah,
it does have that like golf thing about it, where like you're terrible 95% of the time, and then the other 5% you do something really cool, and you're like, oh yeah, I do love this game.
Yes.
But I spent most of my time in that game very, very frustrated because I was not very good at it.
Well, what's nice about this game is it's got like the mission structure. So like if you get tired of you do a mission and if you're not making progress in it, you can quit the mission, get something, and then try something else. And it's not like in Dark Souls or something where you like start going down a path and then you're like, I don't even know where I am. And I can't get out of here, and I don't know how to play this game at all. And I'll stop talking about this.
Real life.
Yeah, like real life. Hey, Craig, I heard that you have a wallet. What's in it?
Hey, mine is video game adjacent because it is a TV show based on a video game. And that is The Last of Us.
You son of a bitch.
Oh, did I take yours?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just felt like calling you a son of a bitch.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hey, you're talking about our mother.
Oh, yeah, there's two of you
Shame on
now.
you.
I can't say that.
Say
Yep.
you're
Oh,
sorry
no.
to Miss Norland.
I'm sorry, Miss Norland.
That's right.
She
Don't be
doesn't listen
dissing
to
our
this.
mama. You know better.
So The Last of Us is on HBO. It just finished up, I think, like a week or so ago. But it is I would say, a very faithful adaptation of The Last of Us, which has been out for about 10 or so years now. But they've just keep remastering it and remaking it. Just one in the last year, they just did it again. So very popular video game series. And then the TV series is made by Craig Mazin, who did Chernobyl. I don't know if anyone's watched that or not.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I loved it. I mean, I knew it was going to happen at every turn, but it was fun watching it with Veronica, who had no idea what was going to happen. And so she wants to watch it all over again, which is really cool. And they did add some character stuff they didn't have in the game, in which, I think it's the third episode, is really good. So,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Talk about the most human story I've ever seen in a post-apocalyptic TV show or movie. I was nearly bawling at the end of that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess the only problem is that the rest of the series never really hits that high again. I don't think it was
That's fair.
I don't think it was perfect, but it's a really hard thing to, as we've seen from other adaptations of video games, when they try to make them into movies, it never works because you just can't catch that lightning in a bottle very easily at all. Of what it feels like to be playing the story, as opposed to now we're just taking the cutscenes and putting them in order,
right,
and filling in some spots.
Well, so most video games, the reason why you're playing them is the gameplay, and then if the story is good, then that's just more icing on the cake. But if the story is bad, then who cares? Just keep you can keep playing the game, Yeah. So I always, and The Last of Us, I haven't played it, and the reason why I haven't played it was because everything I heard about it was just how great of a story it was, and I like video games for gameplay. I'm discovering about myself.
Well,
so
wait, but your favorite game is Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, the
Isn't
gameplay
that entirely about story?
No, the gameplay in that is what makes it so much fun.
Isn't that entirely about a well-crafted, definitely planned in advance story?
Yeah, you're right. You got me. I am a big hypocrite.
Hey, Will, you got and my sister's played plenty of Kingdom Hearts, so do you have another person who'll agree with you?
I am nowhere near his gameplay of that at all.
No,
I don't think anyone is.
I am a part of the Reddit subreddit on Kingdom Hearts, and I am often embarrassed for those individuals.
Are you active, or do you just scroll?
No, I just scroll. It's just a bunch of
curious.
It's just a bunch of 12-year-olds saying do you think Nomura knew this when he made this? And everyone's just the first 8 comments are always just, no, he didn't. He said so. He didn't know anything. Yeah. Anyways.
Classic.
All right, Phil, what you got?
Okay, guys. I was struggling to think of one. We've been moving the last I don't know, forever it feels like. But I did buy this book, which is called Those Dark Places. It's an RPG. This is the book guide for the RPG. Now, I have not played the game yet, but I've listened to some people play the game online on the YouTubes and the Spotifys. Essentially, it is a sci-fi space horror RPG. So the guy who wrote it, the way he describes it is Alien, a movie called Outland, which I have not seen, but it does have Sean Connery in it, I think. It sounds weird, but like that sort of gritty, blue-collar space trucker sci-fi with like hyper corporations and like a very toned-down Borderlands, kind of.
Cool.
So it's super cool. The art style in the book is really cool. Definitely a lot of references in it to like Alien and stuff. And I got it in hopes that I would like make an adventure for the D&D group I play with, because we're kind of like, we still have plenty of our campaign left, but we don't really have like a plan for after. And we have a lot of times where we can't get everyone together. So I was trying to put something together with this, and I've gotten just far enough that I think I'm going to give up. Because if you go into my Google Drive, there are like 10 to 15 different things that I've started for an RPG or another that I have not finished. It's a real problem. I get the idea, like the basic idea, and then I start it, and then I can't get any further because I'm not a writer. I'm just a guy. You know?
Yeah.
You guys know. Y'all know how it is when you're
Phil,
not a
don't
writer.
sell yourself
you're just
short.
a person.
You can be anything.
You're right. I can. I finished it just now.
Oh, okay, great. That's all you needed was the push.
So it so there's a thing in it that I really love. So all these tabletop RPGs, you got to roll dice and stuff. This one's like super simple on the dice front. There's like hardly any math, which is perfect for people who don't like math. But they've got a mechanic in the game where if you like encounter a stressful situation, you have to roll. They call it a pressure roll. So you have to roll to see if you freak out. And then if you freak out, you roll, and then your number result on the die is like what your freak out entails. So it could be anything from like you just cower and you just freeze in place, all the way up to like you have to violently leave whatever area you're in, and it doesn't matter who's in your way. You're just gonna, push them or punch them or whatever. And there is an aspect of that I love for my D&D group, because they would I think relish hurting each other in game and like breaking the game a little bit. There's also one of the guys in the group is a bit of a scaredy cat, and I just want to make something that will scare him. Kit, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but I am going to put you on blast here. So there's a video game released recently called Callisto Protocol, and he can't play it on its own. So he has had my brother come over, or other friends come over, so he could play it, because he can't play it on its own. And I love it.
Yeah. It's like Resident Evil Biohazard, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to play a scary video game for Halloween this year. And so I loaded it up, and the video game art, the game didn't even load. The video game art just showed up, and I saw a little screenshot of what I was in store for. And I was like, nope.
Oh, no.
Nope, can't do this. Nope, not going to do it. So it remains unplayed.
Oh, man. I've just been really in the mood for spooky stuff lately. It's not Halloween, but
I mean,
I'm always in the mood.
I just want to get my pants scared off, but
like my pants on me. So
so Phil, you did mention D&D. Are you going to see the D&D movie?
Yes, I'm going to see it on Friday.
Okay, I've heard it's very good.
I have heard wonderful things about it from D&D people.
Yes, that's the most important thing.
It's supposed to be like an enjoyable, fun. I'm going to call it a romp. I think it's supposed to be a romp for like the average person, but I think for a D&D person, I think it's just supposed to be like a great love letter to the game.
Yeah.
The trailers have been really good. From the trailers, and hopefully it's not just all the good parts are in the trailers, But the trailers do make it seem like the people who made it understand like the unwritten rules of D&D. Like, I don't know. It just feels like the game that you're playing. They've got the trailer where Chris Pine is like, he's got his hands tied. And the other, I never remember her name. Michelle Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Man. I did this last night. I couldn't remember her name. Anyways, she's like beating up everyone in the alley that they're in. And Chris Pine is like stuck trying to get out of his restraints. And that felt so much like when you're playing the game and you're rolling like shit all night, but everyone else is rolling like 20s all night. It felt good watching the trailer. I got really excited with the second trailer. And they do like they have a bit where like the characters cast a spell, and in the game it's called Speak with Dead. And you cast that spell, and then you get a specific number of questions you can ask whatever dead creature. But they keep doing like it feels very like, not Abbott and Costello, but almost like older Hollywood, where like they're accidentally asking questions. And so they burn through all 3 of their questions like immediately, and they haven't been able to ask anything important.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm super excited.
Good.
I was not initially.
No, I don't think anyone was.
No. Not at all.
Okay.
Well, anyways, that was like 6 recommendations in one, I feel like.
That's all good.
But that is my purview. Did I use that word right? I don't care. And...
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to cut your 6 recommendations down to 2 for me.
Okay, perfect.
So, first up is Beetlejuice. Craig and
he's here.
Just saw the play. Oh, God, I shouldn't have said his name. Craig and I just saw the play at Wharton, the musical. It was great. Great soundtrack to it. Hilarious. Yeah, I would recommend it and stuff for
how closely does it follow the movie?
Pretty close.
Yeah,
a little bit different with some of the storyline.
As would be necessary for this, but it's kind of like a magic show almost. Like a lot of the stuff they do, especially Beetlejuice, of course. You're like, how did he just do that? Like, he'll just throw something, it'll burst into flames, or at one point, Lydia just floats up in the air, and Anne and I were like, wait, how do they do that? Like, seriously, how do they do that?
Cool.
So, Anne, you want to recommend that and not Lion King Jr. that we watched?
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
So, Craig and I also went and saw Encore's Lion King Jr.
Awesome.
You don't need to say anymore. We all know exactly how that went.
And I felt really bad because I was like, oh, well, that child could have been, like, delivered their lines a little bit differently and stuff like that. I'm like, these are children.
Yeah, that's right.
I sounded the same way when I did drama.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, go see Beetlejuice instead.
Screw those kids.
Screw them.
Local theaters for chumps.
Okay, Will, you need to solve this on air. Was your brother Mike in the high school plays?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, what play did he start with? Because I'm trying to remember if he was in any of the shows that I was in.
I don't know because I wasn't doing them at the same time with him. What shows are you thinking of? And maybe I can help you with that.
I think the closest one would be Fiddler on the Roof I think that it was the last show I did.
No, I don't think Mike... Mike definitely wasn't old enough to be in that, I don't think.
Okay.
No, because Steve was in that, and I don't think they crossed.
Yeah.
Wait, what year did Mike graduate? Was he in my grade or a year below? I don't remember.
Phil, what year did I graduate?
2008. Mike was 2006.
2006 is when Mike graduated.
So, and you weren't in school at the same time. So, did he do Encore?
Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
So, maybe it was an Encore play.
Yeah.
I think the last one I did was Fantastical Friends.
Oh, wow, okay.
where they had different fairy tales, like literature and stuff. So I was the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh man, I think the year after that they did William's Window.
Okay.
And that was my first
your
one.
window.
Yeah, that was my first one. It was William Shakespeare.
Who was the teacher in middle school? Who was the director?
Mr. Taylor.
Oh, I think it was Mr. Taylor. Okay.
Oh, that's just for middle school stuff.
Okay. I feel like he
Encore,
had...
Encore was different. It had several different moms and stuff doing it for a while, and
oh, sure.
The Michaels were involved.
Yeah. Did you have a second recommendation?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll get to that. I'm currently listening to George Lucas, The Life by Brian J. Jones. Really good audiobook. Just telling his life and interesting facts about, like, not just Star Wars, but with Star Wars, it's going to be like the Millennium Falcon was originally, he named it Pork Burger, and that's what it was going to be called before they changed it. So little fun facts throughout there and stuff. The guy was a complete douchebag and stuff, it sounds like, but he definitely focused on toy sales more than his movies and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's how that was the thing when he was making it. He was like, you don't have to pay me anything, right? Basically, like, I won't take the royalties, but what I will take is, like, the merchandising.
Yes.
And then
and that's what saved him.
Yeah.
So it was smart. Yeah. But I know it made a lot of people mad that he focused on what toys could be created and stuff instead of...
And then the final episode of the trilogy ends in a teddy bear picnic.
Yep.
Yeah.
He loved those Ewoks, too.
Oh, speaking of Ewoks, I went to Muir Woods, which is essentially Endor when I was in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know.
Did you find a speeder bike?
I did find a speeder bike. I crashed it.
Yeah.
You know,
did it make those whooshing sounds?
Yeah, of course. I made all the whooshing sounds.
Whoosh, whoosh.
Yep. I kept singing the Yub Dub song, and Ben kept saying, "Keep your voice down." He wasn't happy with it.
Did your car get broken into?
No, but I did put a receipt on there was like a receipt on my seat, and Ben's like, "Oh, stow that away." And I'm like, "It's a receipt." He's like, "If they see that you have anything in your car, they're gonna break in." And I was like, "Okay, all right."
I think I told this story.
The Ewoks?
We were in.
Yes, the Ewoks. Yeah, they're nasty.
When we were in San Francisco, we went to stop at the Golden Gate, to like the Golden Gate Bridge to like look at it. We went to the park that's up on the thing and we parked. And between our car and walking like 100 feet to the bathroom and waiting for the bathroom, somebody broke into a car that was like 50 feet from the bathroom. They shattered the side window.
Man, yeah,
it was wild.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know what? We should leave. All of our stuff is in the car right now.
Yeah. San Francisco is interesting because it's like things like that are rampant, right? Like, so like everyone's worried about their car getting broken into. There's not homeless people everywhere. That's pretty much a Fox News talking about point, but there are homeless people, and they do give them free needles, you know, so that they don't like die from bad needles. You know what I mean? And like, did I say graffiti? There's graffiti and like your cars can be broken into, but then at the same time, it's like full of thousands of parks and like all this like really nice infrastructure, you know, that like as a Michigander, I'm just like, what? You pay for these things? How? You know? And like 15 different types of like public transportation that costs like nothing to use. So it's kind of funny just because. And then Ben, of course, is he likes to get political and stuff. So he votes, and he's like his voting page, and he does all the research was like 2 pages long. He had like so many, and it's all like it's not like when you vote in Michigan, you just go, all right, what side's the Democrat side? Go down, you know. But his was like, it was like literally, he's like, now I have to like actually read everything because they're like interested in governing here. And it's not like one party who's like, we're going to keep the government together. And the other party going like, we're going to light it all on fire. It's like, well, maybe let's go for the one that's not going to do that. Anyways. Fun time, though. Fun time.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, it's one of those things. Oh, God.
It's my favorite bit.
I know.
Go ahead.
So Anne and I went to San Francisco. I was like 10 or 12.
Oh my God! Did they even have planes?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think
you took a buggy.
Kitty Hawk had just happened. Yeah. It's those kind of things. I don't remember anything about San Francisco besides the Ghirardelli place, and of course, what's it's off the shore.
Yes, what's it's? I've been there.
Yeah, what's it's?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Famous
they have
prison. What's
it's?
Yes. Alcatraz. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing delicious about Alcatraz. Sorry.
So, no. As a kid, I don't know if I just never noticed those things or everything was just rose-colored glasses. My dad was paranoid and kept us out of areas that would have been dangerous, I guess. But
he hated driving on those roads too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they're wild out there.
San Francisco is also like humongous, so there are definitely spots of San Francisco that are worse than others, but that's true of every single city that's ever existed.
Yeah.
So if you stick to the touristy sections, you're not going to see like any homeless people because they don't want to be around there. I don't know. Or if you're uphill, apparently that's never mind.
On that trip out west that we took, I was begging my dad to take us to Hollywood and stuff, and he's like, hell no. That is one of the worst areas to go to. You're not going to have fun. I'm like, but that's where all the famous people are. He's like, nope, we're not going. We'll do San Francisco, and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
We got to see some redwoods, though. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Golden Gate Bridge. It's not golden. Biggest disappointment of the whole trip.
Did you find the Full House?
I had an opportunity to not go there, but to see the That's So Raven house. But we decided not to since neither one of us had seen 1 second of that show.
Oh, no.
That's fair.
For whatever reason, my phone was just like telling me of like the weirdest things nearby. And I was like, Ben, we should check out the Golden Fire Hydrant. And he's like, what the is the Golden Fire Hydrant?
Did you check out the Golden Fire Hydrant?
I did check out the Golden Fire Hydrant. In fact, give me 1 second here. And hold on. I don't know if you can see this, but there I am with the Golden Fire Hydrant.
Oh my gosh.
It looks shiny and gold. Man, how'd you deal with being that close?
I mean, it was stellar. I was so starstruck.
I
Totally
really
down to
hope that
earth for a fire hydrant made out of gold, or rather painted gold.
You made Ben walk like 3 blocks out of his way just to go see it.
It was literally right next to his house, and he'd never seen it before.
Weird.
All right,
anywho,
we did watch a movie.
Oh, you're right. We should probably get to that.
I had a good one.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Will, when
Sorry, Phil.
When you were in San Francisco, did you ride any trains?
You know what? I did ride a couple different trains.
Oh, wow. Wait, did your mom go on the trip with you?
Yeah, I threw her right from that train.
Oh, my gosh.
So we watched Throw Mama from the Train. It's a 1987 American crime comedy film starring and directed by Danny DeVito in his theatrical directorial debut. The film stars Billy Crystal, Anne Ramsey, Rob Reiner, Stars Rob Reiner? Not really. He was in one scene.
No, he was guest starred, basically. Whatever you want to call it.
Brantford Marsalis, Kim Greist, and Kate Mulgrew. It's 88 minutes long, $14 million budget, $57.9 million at the box office. How do you guys think this did on Rotten Tomatoes? Any guesses?
This is a tough one.
I'm going to say around like 49.
Good guess. We got a 49.
Okay,
say,
I'll do... Yeah, go ahead.
You go.
I'll do 42%.
Okay.
I'm going to say it landed a firm...
Oh, no. Phil's video dropped. He's off the podcast. Oh, dear. We'll just have to continue without him.
Oh. It was the one time we had a train.
64. So you guys gave it less credit than it got. Audience score was 54, so even better than that too. So domestic box office for 1987. So what else came out that year that was popular? Predator, The Witches of Eastwick, Lethal Weapon, Stakeout, The Secret of My Success, Three Men and a Baby, The Untouchables, Fatal Attraction, Platoon, and Beverly Hills Cop 2. This one did not make the list.
Another mixed bag.
Yeah, mixed bag. 90s was an interesting time for movies.
That was the 80s.
What did I say?
You said the 90s.
Stand by it. I'm not going to correct myself.
Okay. To be fair, this movie feels like it is from the early 90s.
Yeah. All right. So I saw this movie at my house with my wife and Craig. So I kind of got an idea of how Craig and my wife feel about this movie. But Craig, you picked this movie.
I did.
So why did you pick this movie?
I picked it because it was one of those weird things where I was hanging out with my sister and I said, hey, Phil had Joe on, so maybe we should figure out a movie that we'd pick together. And we looked at each other and we just knew. We were like, throw Mama from the train. It was instant. So we're like, all right, that's what we're going to do. Because there are other choices we could have made that would have been far worse. Trust me.
Hey. No. They would not have been worse. I still stand by Feds and Armed and Dangerous. I want these guys to see John Candy and drag. I think they'd enjoy it.
I'd be into that.
I'm talking about Nothing But Trouble.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
That's still classic for us.
Hey, John Candy in drag again.
Yeah, that's true.
When's my next week to pick things? I think it's Phil's. Oh, not mine. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Anne, how do you feel about this movie? What's your history with this film?
You know, I think it was one that my father introduced me to. And I love Danny DeVito. So you can't go wrong with a Danny DeVito film, which is not true, but I'm giving him more credit and stuff because I love him. And then just Anne Ramsey. Craig and I will always say, go ahead, Craig.
Owen!
Every single time we see each other, that comes out of our mouths.
Uh-huh. Our significant others love it.
So how do you feel about this movie? Did you rewatch it were you able to rewatch it before coming on?
Yes. I actually, when Craig and I decided on it, I was like, yeah, I just record that to watch it on HBO, had it for free, so I'm going to watch it. And he's like, well, this is perfect. So yeah, I rewatched it, and, it wasn't what I remembered it to be, but there were some great parts to it.
Yeah. So weirdly enough, my wife and her sister, her older sister, watched this movie as a kid and quoted the movie to each other. And after it was over, Caitlin goes like, we would say a quote to each other that does not exist in this film.
Yep. I think Phil had that same experience with another movie Or, oh gosh.
No, it was when we both thought that Raphael was the main character in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and it was Michelangelo.
There was also what was the movie we thought there was a montage in that didn't exist?
Oh, yeah.
I think what we're finding out is that this happens very often.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
Right?
This happens all the time.
Craig and I were just talking
fragile.
about this with the Quiet Man, and how I remember in the end of the movie that John Wayne punches Maureen O'Hara, and we just watched it, and there was no punch, and I'm like,
There's no
I
punch.
swear.
Did you confuse it with Darby O'Gill and the Little People? Because Sean Connery punches Pony at the end of that movie.
Well, it was a huge thing because it was punching a female and
Oh,
stuff. And,
right.
But I was rooting for him. Now, I do not condone anybody hitting anybody, and especially men hitting women. So, but I remember it.
Yeah, some of our listeners need to hear that, so I'm glad you said that.
Yes. No, so to actually answer your question before, I think for me, it was just seeing this a lot on cable. And I don't remember Dad introducing this one to us. I felt it was just like on all the time, like Stay Tuned, which is another Mom and Dad Save the World. we all these gems that we watched growing up that nobody knows anything about anymore.
Man.
But for some reason, even just watching it this last time, I'm like, I remember every single thing that happens in this movie. I must have watched this so much. Like, nothing was basically gone. So, and I don't remember last time I actually watched this movie, so.
So would you say it met your expectations, or was this, yeah?
No, I think so. Yeah.
So, Phil, we haven't heard anything from you, and you're not me, so I don't know what's in your head.
I think you know what's in my head.
I think I might. Okay. Well, why don't you let us know?
Well, so I'm looking at a list of other movies that are in the between 60 and 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a wild grouping of movies because you've got The Fox and the Hound,
okay,
which is a young Phil treasure, and I thought was 100% movie, and that's in there. But then you have Snakes on a Plane, you have Rocky 2.
Oh, well.
And I just, the more I read the titles of the movies in this, the more I'm like, this fits perfectly in this weird mashup of movies. I still am not convinced that this movie didn't exist before we watched it. You told me the title, Craig.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a movie.
That's not a real movie.
That's not a real movie. And then I went to watch it, and the whole time I'm like, this isn't a real movie. What is this? It was such a wild and weird ride. I don't really know how to frame it in my head. So I'm hoping the next, however long we end up talking about it, will fix or garbage this movie for me.
Will,
I'm confused.
Yes, you're confused. Okay. Will, do you have any initial thoughts you want to?
Yeah, I'm with Phil. If you told me that this movie was on the list of the 100 best this and that, just 100 best something list, I'd be like, yeah, I can see it. But if you also told me that this was on a list of the 100 worst, I would also believe that, because there are parts of this movie that I thought was hilarious. Some of the sight gags, especially the whole phone thing when Danny DeVito's on the phone, on a payphone, and he's running from one phone to the next. And then at one point he says I can't tell you about this on the phone, but I killed your wife. And it was just I'm like, what is this? And I think so the movie starts off really slow, and I sort of hated Billy Crystal's character because he just kept calling his wife my second least favorite term for a woman, And he and then like halfway through the movie, it turns into this like zany like Looney Tunes cartoon when he's like with Danny DeVito in Danny DeVito's house, and then it slowly morphs into like a buddy cop, not buddy cop, but like a buddy film between him and Owen, which shouldn't work at all, but like kind of does. But also,
so you're saying it's good?
Really. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm saying I really enjoyed watching this movie, but I did at one point, Craig, I believe I said, I'm like, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen next. Like I haven't a clue. Like usually in movies like have like a rhythm to them and they like kind of set things up one way. But this movie, I was just like, everyone could be dead in the next scene. Like everyone could be dead.
So, which is a sign of a great movie.
Is it?
I think this is what makes this so great is it's a perfect Saturday afternoon movie.
Yeah.
Like this is a great oh, this is on. It's like Shawshank Redemption, except Shawshank is much better.
No, but it is like it does have that like sort of basic cable feel to it, where you kind of turn. You're like, what's happening here? And and you start watching it, which I feel like the Netflix movie has kind of like filled in nice, because like no movie that released only on Netflix. Well, not. I mean, there are exceptions, but like for the most part, they're all kind of like, yeah, this is very meh. If I paid $7 for it to watch this in the movie theater, or $14, I pay $7 because I go at the matinee time. I'd be
Smart.
I'd be like kind of disappointed, but because it's a part of my Netflix thing that I already pay for, I'm like, yeah, that was an okay movie. Does that make sense? What point was I making?
That makes perfect sense, and I think it applies perfectly. Kind of.
So, Will, how about you take us through the plot real quick?
Oh, good. I get to do it? Okay.
Yeah, drive us to Hawaii.
Okay, so the film opens up with Billy Crystal discovering that his wife has written a book that was basically his book, he claims. So Billy Crystal's character is a writer whose ex-wife is the person he saw on television, and he teaches creative writing. One of his students is Owen, who's Danny DeVito's character. Danny DeVito's character, Owen, lives with his mother. His mother is awful to him, but also kind of sweet sometimes, but mostly awful. Like when she's like, oh, my pretty little boy, and she's like giving him hugs. I was like, well, that was kind of sweet. Okay. Anyways, after he almost stabs her in the head. Anywho, so he wants to kill her, and he's Owen, Danny DeVito's character, wants to kill her. He's a terrible writer. So in like a sort of like, I don't know how to, there's just like a misunderstanding. Billy Crystal's telling Owen like advice on how to write better. And what Owen hears is, we should do Strangers on the Train for each other because you hate your wife. I heard that you hate your wife because she stole your book, and I hate my mom. And Strangers on the Train is a Hitchcock movie where two strangers decide to do each other's murders, which seems like a cool idea for a movie, but isn't really anything that makes any sense when you think about it. So Danny DeVito's character goes to Hawaii where Billy Crystal's ex-wife is, and he pushes her off a boat. And then he comes back and says, now you do mine. And Billy Crystal's like, that's insane, but I should do it because you're a nice guy and something about coins. And that's kind of like the rest of the movie from there. Right? It's Strangers on the Train, but like dumber. Right? Like that's the whole premise. But purposefully dumber, like it's a comedy,
Is it? No, I'm kidding. It is.
I mean, I laughed at a lot.
I laughed at many points.
Yeah, I thought Owen was Danny DeVito was great in this. He was very funny.
I really think his character is so funny. Just the fundamental misunderstanding of the whole scenario. And
or even him like tailing this woman he's trying to murder, and he's like just standing right behind her with his drink. And she like and then she like sits down, he sits down, and he just like says something right, and then she like leaves, and then he's like trying to push her off. It's ridiculous.
When he just like shows up to her house is really funny too, because he just decides he's gonna do it, and then he just immediately flies to Hawaii, and then is just in her house. Which I don't. Did he pick the lock? Did he break in? Was it open? I don't know. It doesn't show it. It just shows him walking into the house, and then he just stands there while she's at her. He's putting the gloves on. And he's just standing there.
Yeah, it's goofy.
And then he goes and makes a sandwich.
Yeah, and then he makes a sandwich.
On her back porch.
Yeah, there's too many good lines in this movie, and I wish I would have wrote them down, but I was too busy laughing at the funny lines.
My favorite is when Anne Ramsey calls him a clumsy poop.
I did write that one down.
Yep, I wrote that one down too.
But she also... Oh, man. Oh, man. What did she call Billy Crystal when he's trying to hang the... what did he... Oh, shoot.
Wasn't it like a Louis Armstrong...
No.
Oh, no. That's the best part, is when I thought it was another hallucination, like him pretending that he was going to kill her, but he takes a trumpet and blows it in her ear to give her a heart attack. But instead, she wakes up and she says, "Oh my God, I just had the worst dream. Louis Armstrong was trying to kill me."
Or she calls, doesn't she say like, "Owen, get your black friend out of here"?
Yeah,
about
that's
Billy Crystal.
It's so bizarre.
And Billy Crystal's just like, "What?
What?"
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of that, you know?
Yeah. She got an Oscar nom for that performance.
Wow.
I'm not super surprised.
I'm not a person that watches the Oscars or knows much of anything. So I was surprised, because I guess I just always think the Oscars is just the Oscar bait wins the performance, and not like a very, very bizarre performance gets the like anything. So I was a little surprised to learn that, but good for her.
Yeah.
Another good one. Where are you going? I'm gonna kill the bitch. You want something? Could you give me a chunky?
What is it? What is a chunky?
It's a chunky?
Yeah.
It's a white package with the words chunky on it in red and black. And it's like peanuts, chocolate.
It's a candy bar.
It's a candy bar.
Oh, okay. Is it like the world's first candy bar, and that's why I've never heard of it?
Yes.
No, it is
yes,
not.
correct. That's right, Phil.
Huh. So I like that. So I've never seen Strangers on a Train. I feel like it's one of those things. I feel like we've talked about it with other bits throughout the show. Is that like it's one of those things that I feel like I've seen referenced so many times that I kind of just don't want to watch it.
It's good.
I'm sure it is. I'm
pretty sure it's the same thing as where one of them is way too eager to kill someone, and so they do it, and the other person really wasn't in on the plan. And so that's where the main conflict comes from. So the line you were looking for is get out of my way, you black bastard. And Larry says, "What?"
It was such a... there was a lot of this that I just didn't know how to receive as an audience member. But I liked that it did and I don't know if Strangers on a Train does this, but I liked that it did the concept of that I know from Strangers on a Train, but then it was just like, yes, of course the cops will immediately go to his students to question, because that was the last place he was school. Why would they not go and talk to his students? So obviously they go to talk to Owen. He's a weird guy and nearly gives up everything. It was just funny that like...
Oh, yeah. The scene with the cops in the house.
Yeah.
And Owen like opens the closet and, Billy Crystal's character's in there. And he goes, "Oh, hey."
"Oh, hi."
And he's like, high tea or something. I don't know what he does, but it's just like, oh boy. Yeah.
And it's funny because he seems bumbling for most of it, but he is pretty smart because when he flew to Hawaii, he used Larry's name.
Yeah, that's right. He's
like he put it out there, so it's like he's not that dumb.
Yeah. And he's a bad writer. They like have that as a plot point, is that he's a bad writer. But he also did then start his story with the same thing that the quote unquote good writer was starting his story with, which I thought was very funny. Because I feel like they didn't bring it up that much, which is either a really good thing or a really bad thing. I don't know. But it felt like Billy Crystal's character was not as good as he thought he was.
Yeah.
And like they made that pretty clear, because his friend was like, yeah, he doesn't do anything. That's why I know he didn't kill his wife, because he doesn't do anything.
Right.
He also starts his story with the same thing that his like terrible writer student is starting his story about, the man in the hat that kills the other man in the hat.
Yeah.
He uses the same line to open the story. So like Billy Crystal is bad at writing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least not very good.
Right. Yeah.
I think what I caught this time around is he gets mad at Owen at the very end of the movie. Spoilers for the ending, but Owen did not actually kill his wife. She fell because she was trying to reach for her earring, and she survived the fall off the boat, and she married the person who saved her, which was like some Philippine fisherman guy, and
we've all been there.
Yeah.
Some of us twice, you know?
Yeah. Owen decides, he tells him, he's like, oh, I wrote a book about our adventures. And Larry, this is the first time that he's been able to write forever. And he writes that book about the experience. And so he starts trying to kill Owen because he thinks he stole his story. And then it made me realize that, and obviously Owen's was like a pop-up book. It wasn't like anything, like it wasn't a real novel. Oh, Veronica, they're saying hi to you.
Oh, hello.
Oh, she didn't like that. Okay, anyway. She's watching Everything Everywhere All at Once down here. So.
Oh, awesome.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so jealous.
Stop the podcast. I'm coming over. We're going to watch it.
If you catch me looking over to the side, it's me looking at what part of the movie. I saw hot dog fingers and I saw 2 dildos. So,
nice.
You know,
yes,
doing good so far.
Having a
all
great
the good
time.
parts.
But, you know, Larry has this, they talk about he hasn't been able to, he doesn't do anything. I'm pretty sure, they talk about write what you know, and he says, oh, my wife stole my story. I'm pretty sure that he just kept saying he was going to write this book, and he never did it, and his wife did it.
Yeah.
Because she actually is talented. And so he never wrote anything, and she stole it. It was literally just like, I'm just writing. What are you doing?
That was kind of my thought, too, coming out of it, was that, like, he probably didn't write that book. He just feels like he did.
Yeah. It seems like she probably took elements or, like, the main premise of an idea he had one time. Because, all right, so this movie has this sort of trope that I have a feeling was, like, I'm trying to think of another movie that does this, but, like, sort of this anti-intellectual sort of string that went through like 80s and 90s where
Star
it was
Wars
like
Episode 2 Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
Sure.
But you know what I mean? Like, because like Billy Crystal's no, I refuse. Billy Crystal's character is like thinks he's really smart, but he keeps like, Owen is just as smart as him at times, And like the whole moral of the story, sort of, or maybe a subplot of the story rather, is Billy Crystal, Larry kind of realizing that him and Owen are maybe kind of on equal levels, which is sort of like this whole anti like elitist idea and like anti like the other movie that has like a lot of anti like sort of intellectual is like Ghostbusters. because like
Yeah.
the guy, the main bad guy is like the head of like the EPA or something. You know, he's like
It's
an
everyone's
environmental
favorite
person.
capitalist propaganda movie.
Yeah, and they're like, we should just be able to have this biohazard material inside of our dilapidated firehouse that we bought.
I mean, you have a lot of them that are like the classy people versus the snobs, like Caddyshack 2.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And
No,
so, like,
not Caddyshack 2, Caddyshack, comma, 2. Please let's not bring that movie into this.
There's a Caddyshack too?
of course there is.
Yeah, and it's awful.
I've never even seen the whole first one.
So,
okay.
I have a wild position, but I don't think Caddyshack is that good.
That's why I haven't seen all of it.
It's just okay.
Like,
I think we were born in the wrong year for it to be really funny.
yeah. I was just like, yeah. Everyone's like, oh, it's so funny, Bill Murray and the gopher, and I'm like, oh. Have you guys seen Looney Tunes? Because this is just Looney Tunes, you know.
And do you have a Caddyshack hot take?
No, I just felt like it was all over the place, and yeah.
Okay. Oh,
very
good.
boring.
I thought for a minute, I was like, well, I'm going to say something, and everyone's going to go, Will's the bad guy again. So
No,
No,
I
we
was
all
so
agree.
glad you said it. That's why I haven't seen it. I came in, I watched like the first bit of it, and I was like, this might be one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen, and I didn't finish the movie, and I have no qualms about that. I'm very okay with that.
I will say the best part of the movie is Rodney Dangerfield.
yeah, because he's just Rodney Dangerfield.
He's just himself. So I like all his
I don't
movies.
get golf. Is that what he says?
Yeah, you nailed it. Perfect impression.
Man, I'm good at impressions.
You really are.
I'm impressive.
Oh, Phil's video feed cut out again. Oh, dear.
Oh no. Anne, do you have any other thoughts about the movie? Like, what was different about it this time for you?
Well, I didn't remember all the. I thought it was very awkward, all the sex scenes and stuff with his wife, his ex-wife, and the pool boy or gardener, and she wanted him to be a dog. That's quite weird. And
And Owen is just kind of sitting there, just like, all right, well, I got to read this magazine, I guess.
Flip into a magazine, yeah. And then him just eating potato chips in the train ride. And I thought it was extremely weird when Billy Crystal's character and the girl was reading a children's book.
Yeah, that part made this movie kind of unpleasant to watch. That coupled with their earlier interaction where they're on a playground, a kiddie playground, and that's of the like 3 or 4 times that we see. Yeah, I think 3 or 4 times we see the two of them interact. 2 of them are a weirdly like a full-on sexual moment adjacent to something for children.
To me,
and I really did. It made it very unpleasant to watch.
To me, to me just like is like you just know Danny DeVito's like this is hilarious that they're like isn't this funny, and everyone's like yeah Dan yeah it was funny because she's there because the movie's called Throw Mama from the Train. It's like no because she's getting turned on by trains. It's funny, right? Sure. Yeah, I mean, is it? Am I missing something? Is it me? No? Okay.
If there isn't one weird, uncomfortable thing that aged horribly in a 80s comedy, it's not an 80s comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, when they...
Now, you say aged horribly. I would maybe take issue with the aged part, because I don't know if it started great.
It started great. Okay, that's true.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, well...
The spirit of what you said is correct.
Yeah, just the whole, like, her with the train, and then with her reading the book, I was like, okay, so she's got a train thing. And I, like, wrote that down, like, Beth has train fetish, will come back to later. And then later on, I'm like, that never came back.
Never came back.
That way it's...
Don't know why that was there.
It was not Chekhov's train.
Nope.
Chekhov's sexy train.
Yep. I did
do,
like. I did like some of
you go ahead.
the filmography in it. I can only think of a couple specific. Like at one point, they like transitioned from like a picket fence to jail bars, and it was just cool. I just felt like there was like a lot of fun framing as well. Like
yeah, because this was Barry Sonnenfeld. We talked about that before the movie.
It was very
and
much.
That's why it's shot very well for what it is.
Yeah, and like all like Barry Sonnenfeld does the whole like he like fish, not quite fish eye, but like really close to somebody's face, and like kind of like whip hand to somebody else and stuff like that. Which I always like really stylized filmmaking. Like even the shots of Danny DeVito just in a different spot for every single one of the phone calls. And is just very funny, and it's entirely a sight gag. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the filmmaking was good because it was done by a good cinematographer.
Yeah.
I do want to say, because I told her that I'd say it. I have a quote here from my wife. The movie's 88 minutes long. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say we were probably at like this 65, 69 minute mark. And Jack turned to me and she said, I think you should get better friends that like good movies.
Oh.
And I said, I'm going to write that down.
Oh, Jack.
I think she's right.
I wrote it down because I said, I'm going to quote you and I'm not going to give you credit because that's really funny. But then I did give her credit. So now I get credit for giving her credit.
Oh, no. Come on.
I do think she had seen this before.
Oh,
Weird.
Okay. I feel like you can't say that you like good movies if all you've seen are what are considered good movies.
She
like,
made us watch The Time Machine. She doesn't know what she's talking
true.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did also make us watch Cats.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And The Island of Dr. Moreau. So she
Wait
knows
a
what a
minute.
bad movie is. Clearly, she knows what a bad movie is. Because those were all picked on purpose.
Yep.
And did you watch Cats?
I unfortunately did, and I really regret it. I know that everybody that saw the play was like, God, what is this? And so when they made it into a movie, I was like, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm like, no.
Have you seen the musical?
Back my time. What's that?
Have you seen the musical?
No.
Okay.
See, I didn't hate Cats all that much, the movie, because I knew what the musical was. So when people were like, what is this? I'm like, oh, well, this is just Cats that... Wait, you thought it... And so I thought there was like something else to it. Like it was like a weird version of an already weird musical. I'm like, oh no, Cats is fucking bonkers from no matter what version you're watching. Like it's based off nothing. And it's like... It's just so like when I was kind of like, oh yeah, I mean I don't know, they're singing and dancing and I'm into that, you know. I just thought it'd be worse. I mean, it was really hard to look at, that's for sure.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't the cat butthole edition.
Yeah.
So.
See, yeah, that's really release the
Once
butthole
again,
cut. Come on,
release the butthole cut.
All right, so let's. I think we're ready for ratings now.
Yeah,
All right.
I think that's right.
All right.
Yeah,
Phil?
Craig. No, Craig. No,
Okay.
Craig. You gotta go first.
I'll do it
'cause
first.
I'm not
Okay.
ready.
I'm going to give this 4 out of 5. 100 girls I'd like to pork. Soon to be a bestseller.
Yeah. Well,
Yes,
Phil, did you notice that line? He did not. The actor did not say
Correct.
pork. Yes.
Yeah, and there was, so I noticed that, and then, oh God, my computer's having trouble. I noticed that, and then later on in the movie, I don't know if this happened for you guys, but HBO, or maybe it's just the same issue with the pork. He says something later that got dubbed over.
Mm-hmm.
Or, no, what it was is
The
later he
closed
said
caption.
something that the closed caption changed.
Because they didn't. because they didn't write a new closed caption when they released it on DVD after releasing it on television. That would be my guess for that.
That would make sense.
And the whole him saying so he says the actor is clearly saying, but
yeah.
In a PG-13 movie, you're allowed one F word. So they probably were like, oh, this will be our one F word. But they forgot the fact that it's one F word as long as it's not sexual. So you could say like, oh, but you can't say like, these are a bunch of ladies I want to because that's then sexual. So they were probably sent it to the rating and they were like, no, this is an R. And they're like, we want PG-13. It's like, why is it? It's because of the F word. I thought we got one. So they probably went back in later and dubbed it over when the movie was basically done. That would be that was my guess and confirmed on the IMDb trivia page that I saw.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you have a rating for this? We'll go Norlands and then we'll go
others spares.
I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5.
Whoa!
You don't have a cousin Patty frying pan to the head.
Oh, man.
You lied to me.
Whoa.
Okay, Anne, why did you give this a 3 out of 5 versus my 4?
The only good parts was Anne Ramsey and Danny DeVito quotes and stuff you get for it, but the story wasn't as good as I remembered it. So I don't know. There's better 80 films.
Yeah.
Oh well, I know that, but I have too much nostalgia bound up in it, I guess.
Phil, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I think I'm going to give this a. I don't know if this is the right number. I think I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5. Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Jumanji: The Next Level, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, Kong Skull Island, Pirates of the Caribbean, On Stranger Tides, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. I said those already. Movies that feature Hawaii that I probably would have rather watched.
Oh.
Got it! Sorry, that was a little harsh.
Well, you said 2.5?
2.
No, a 2.
Oh, 2.
Flat 2.
Whoa. Okay. I thought. Okay. Whatever. All right. So I'm going to give this movie. Let's see. I'm going to give this 3.9999999999999. Hey, it's Flintstone's Car Wash out of 5. Because I do think that this movie is fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I do think that it is bad also.
Yeah.
But it is fun to watch, so I can't give it a 4 because I feel like I want to give it a 4, but I'm like, it's also so it just didn't quite push itself over the edge. But I don't know. I had a great time watching it.
You were also watching with 2 people who love the movie. So.
I know, but this is also my wheelhouse. I love movies like this where you're kind of going like, what are you doing? Like, what on earth are you doing?
This feels very Shakes the Clown adjacent, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It also feels very much like a first outing for a director. Where it's like, I'm throwing every silly idea I've ever had. I don't actually know how to do story and structure, but I'm a funny person. So here is all of my ideas. And you know what I mean? Like in a movie where I'm just I'm doing what I want to see in a movie, and I don't understand why people just don't do exactly what do this, and then and the reason why is because it doesn't always make sense if you just put non sequitur for next to non sequitur, in a row. So.
All these ideas have to do with getting turned on by trains, so I don't know how we can run with that.
But yeah, no, I thought it was better than. I don't think it was a 2.
Thank you, Will.
Villain.
Yeah.
I had to get back on track of Phil hating all the movies I pick.
All right, so yes, we did break our streak of 5 out of 5 films. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Anne.
You're welcome.
I blame both of you. I also don't care at all. I believe that it is Phil's turn to pick a movie, correct?
It is.
Which means it's Joe's turn to pick a movie?
Well, so I got the recommendation. So I was going to I'm just taking suggestions.
Right.
So
okay,
it was Joe last time. Jack had recommended that I force you guys to go see the D&D movie.
Okay.
So if you're not morally opposed to that, I think that's going to be what it is.
Okay. I was when we were going to hang up seeing when Craig was free to go see it. So
yeah. So
perfect.
Nice try, Jack. It didn't work. I like this.
It really, I'm being, is facetious the word where you're just lying to be funny?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So that. She was not like, she didn't say it in like force the guys to watch D&D. It's more just like, we're going to see it already. You guys should just do another like current movie that's coming out.
All right.
So D&D movie it is. Let's roll with it.
All right. I can't wait to praise Jonathan Majors in our next episode.
I know. I can't, like, let's hope Chris Pine doesn't, like...
Choke somebody,
or do something crazy. Oh, man. Sorry about that, folks.
Gang, he still turned in a stellar performance.
I mean,
he did.
Anyways,
you know?
Different. This is not the conversation I was expecting.
Wait, Phil, were you talking about Hitler there? Like, what's happening?
Oh, good Lord.
There we go. All right. Did we do all the stuff?
I think that's it.
We did.
We gotta just do the ending.
Well, before we close out,
just mercifully.
Yeah. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
have
having me.
Yeah.
You're officially cooler than Craig.
Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, I know I'm cooler than Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And that's why you're cooler than Craig.
Mm-hmm. And you can look forward to not listening to this episode ever again because it has your voice on it.
I won't listen to it.
It's a horrible experience to hear your own voice recorded.
Oh,
see,
man.
that's why it's great to be a narcissist. You know, I have no problem hearing myself at all.
This should be a fun one because everyone will be like, "Hey, who's talking? Is it Anne or Craig?"
Exactly.
Because we sound literally the same.
Yeah, but you're the one that most of the time confused
Really?
you for me. So
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Right.
think yeah, that's a worse look for you, Craig. Sorry, buddy.
Hey, that's kind of fits the bill though. So, thank you for liking and subscribing to the podcast. We're on Instagram and Facebook. If you want to tell us what's new with you out there in the podcast world.
This episode was brought to you by Veronica Norland. So thanks, Veronica. It's just Norlands all over the place.
Yeah.
If you are interested in helping support us and hearing your name shouted out on the podcast, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/themumbleandtrug.
If you like what you heard, consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or you can write a story where a man in a hat kills another man in a hat and leaves a note for the police that says, "Listen to movies with my best friend Phil." That's all for this episode. I'm Phil Kessel.
I'm Will Chodas.
And I'm Craig Norland.
And I'm Anne Roose.
Go watch a movie. Maybe it's this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not. I'll give you a 64% chance that you're going to watch this movie.
Yeah. I'll take those odds.
One more train whistle. Come on, Phil. That's how we're going to end this out.
Movies with My Best Friend Phil is brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions, the creators of very serious video production for very serious clients. This episode was recorded and edited by Will Chodas. Research provided by Phil Kessel and Craig Norland. Cover art was designed by Will Chodas and Phil Kessel provided likeness. For more content like this, visit mumbleandtrug.com.
Here's the thing. We're a team of thieves. And when you do this, you're bound to make enemies. Sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge. Truth be told, we helped the wrong person steal the wrong thing. We didn't mean to unleash the greatest evil the world has ever known. But we're gonna fix it.
So how do we pull that off? Figure it out over a drink?
Probably best. You need coolness! To give us a fighting chance, we're gonna need strength. You got this, right?
I know you don't.
We also need courage, magic, and you. What is that again? It's an owlbear.
Let's go!
Be warned. There is evil here.
I'm glad he's on our side.
This one's dangerous. But whatever happens, we'll be ready.
What is it exactly that you bring to this?
I'm a planner. I make plans.
You've already made the plan, so
If the existing plan fails, I make a new plan.
you make plans that fail.
No,
He also plays the lute.
not relevant.
Brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions.